Good morning, everyone. My name is Tyson Chopton. I'm the Executive Vice President of Broadview Networks, and today I'm hosting our webinar on understanding Microsoft's new commerce experience. So to start off with, just a quick note, we are using Teams Webinar for this. So if you don't have any experience with Teams Webinar, if you'd like to ask a question at some point, please raise your hand, and you can certainly give live reactions along the way. Raise your hand to ask a question or get our attention, and then you have the option of either unmuting your microphone and showing your camera if you want, or you can, of course, ask a question via the chat window. So you can use the chat window or raise your hand and let us know. We'll unmute your microphone and or camera if you want, and you can ask your question live. Feel free to ask questions throughout. If it's something that I know we're going to be covering, I may ask you to just hold on to that until we get through the rest of the presentation, and then we can cover that question if we haven't already covered it or get into it in more detail. So to get started, let's talk about the first item, which is price increases. We're then going to talk about what NCE is and what it means to you as a customer, what's changing, and potentially, depending on what type of a Microsoft customer you are, what's staying the same. What the timelines are, so what the dates that are important and how those dates are going to impact you. What the transition process looks like and how we're going to help you through that. And then we'll have lots of time for question and answers. This is not a heavily PowerPoint-laden presentation. It's really meant to be a way for people to ask questions if they have them. So let's start off with the first item, which is price increase. This is in US dollars, so this won't be the exact prices you're used to seeing because we didn't have a Canadian dollar chart available at the time. So irrelevant to NCE or any of the licensing changes that are coming to Microsoft's cloud products, on-premise products, let's put all this aside. In March, some of the Microsoft Office / Microsoft Business 365 products are going to be experiencing a price increase. You see that Microsoft Business Standard and Microsoft 365 E5 will not be seeing a price increase, and some products will see quite a significant price increase from a percentage perspective. So Microsoft Business Basic will see a 17% increase, and Office 365 E1 will see a 20% increase. Really, Microsoft wants to move people away from either of these solutions to the packages that have more capabilities within them. Microsoft Business Premium, sort of the top level hallmark of the Microsoft 365 business suites, is seeing only a 9% increase. But if we were to leave customers just purchasing the way they're purchasing today, and we didn't take advantage of the new commerce experience, over the next year, all of our customers and all of the people that have Office 365 / Microsoft 365 subscriptions today would experience these price increases sometime after March, depending on how and when your current agreement renews. So this is coming March 1. The question is now, what can we do to defer this or impact this price increase change to you via the new commerce experience? Before we get too deep into that, let's explain a little bit more about what the new commerce experience is. So today's commerce experience is made up of a variety of different licensing programs. There are a number of different open volume programs. There's Open Value, there's the regular Microsoft Open Licensing, there's purchasing directly from the web for some of the online products such as Microsoft and Office 365. There's a retail channel where you can go and buy some of the products at the Best Buys of the world. But primarily, most people have been buying either an Open, Select, if you're large enough, in an EA agreement, and or in CSP. If you're buying your Microsoft Cloud licensing from Broadview Networks today, you're buying through the existing CSP program. Or if you're buying it from Microsoft directly, you're buying in the WebDirect program. Generally, Open, MPSA, Select Plus, and EA has been used for traditional on-premise product. The way product was licensed before Microsoft had the cloud licensing option. You'd buy an open license agreement, you'd buy at least one license. Sometimes we would sell you some filler licenses because you had to buy a minimum of 5 to license anything new. And you had the option of adding on software assurance, where if you did that, for each year, 2 years that you paid software assurance, you got access to the latest product on open license. So if you were doing that, you were very close to the subscription-based selling model that Microsoft is moving more and more products towards today. But as you can see, this is quite complicated. Purchasing through, whether it be a cloud partner such as us, whether it be through a licensing partner, whether it be through Microsoft directly, and then there's all these different licensing programs to keep track of. And Microsoft has had a rather infamous standard for the last few years of their licensing being very complex. And Microsoft doesn't want their licensing to complex. They'd like to be managing as few licensing programs as possible while providing all the different options customers want. So what's coming today is the new commerce experience. There will be customers all the way along, just like as there were before, but now the offering catalog is the same across the entire spectrum. There is the breadth motion, there is the enterprise motion, and there is the self-service motion. Apologize for that. The self-service motion is the ability to buy from Microsoft directly, whether you choose to buy from the Microsoft Store, whether you choose to buy from inside of your Microsoft or Office 365 tenant. The enterprise motion is if you're a large enough customer, you can combine your online licensing and your on-premise licensing into a combination deal. And then there is the breadth motion. This is how the majority of the customers that we work with today in the traditional CSP program and worked with in the traditional Open and Select Plus programs, the majority of those customers are in the breadth motion. The majority of companies in Manitoba are in the breadth motion. The enterprise motion is actually increased to 500 seats or larger and a minimum amount of revenue per year. So it's unlikely that most companies will be in the new enterprise motion going forward. And the self-serve motion does exist. It's there. The reason we would recommend people go with purchasing through us versus direct is when you buy your Microsoft licensing from us, we are your first line of support. And you're getting support from people that know you, know your business, are local, understand the local marketplace, and what impacts the people and the companies that operate in Manitoba. In the self-service motion, you're getting your support directly from Microsoft support professionals. They don't know anything about your business. They don't know anything about geography. They have no ongoing relationship with you. So that's really the advantage of purchasing through us overall. So how does this new commerce experience impact compared to what you're doing today? Well, today, if you're buying Microsoft Office 365 licensing and you're buying it direct from Microsoft or you're buying it from us, most of you are buying in an annual agreement subscription. So you're making an agreement for a year, but in that year, you have some options for change as to what you want to do. And in that annual commitment, you have the ability to pay either monthly or annually. And that's staying in the new commerce experience, but it's getting bookended by 2 other options, a monthly option and a multi-year option. And each of these options in the new commerce experience has some new restrictions that go with it as well. So let's talk about the monthly because it's new. So in the new monthly option for new commerce experience, your term, your agreement is for only 1 month. So you're committed to what you're purchasing for a month. So if you have 5 licenses of Microsoft Business Premium and you need to reduce down to 4, you can't do that until the end of the month. If you want to add, you can add every day. That's not a problem. But if you want to decrease, you can only do that at the end of the month. And then essentially at the next month, you're essentially starting a new agreement that's for 1 month. But there is a 20% price increase coming, irrelevant to the other pardon me, price increase I mentioned earlier. If you want to choose the monthly commitment term, then you're going to see a 20% premium on average over what you're paying today for the same licenses. Microsoft is providing a maintenance of the existing pricing minus that price increase that's coming in March if you're making an annual commitment. So if you only want to make a monthly commitment, you're going to see a higher price. In the annual commitment, you have the ability to make that commitment for a year and then pay monthly or pay annually throughout that 1-year commitment. Again, what's very important here is your quantity decrease is on an annual basis. So what this means is if in February you sign up for 5 licenses of Microsoft Business Premium and you want to drop down to 3 throughout the year, you cannot do that. You are committed to that 5 licenses for the entire year. If you want to add licenses, you can add, but you cannot decrease. Now, if you're on Business Standard or Business Basic today, and you make that annual commitment for one of those plans, and then during the year through discussions with us and wanting to take on the advantage of some of the new features of the higher plan like Business Standard or Business Premium, you can move up in plans within your commitment timeline. You just can't decrease what you're doing. So this is a 12-month commitment. Your price is locked in for 12 months and your commitment levels, your minimum commitment levels are locked in for 12 months. Another important change is the cancellation policy. For the first 72 hours after you make this commitment, there can be some changes with some prorated refunds, but after 72 hours, it's locked in for the year. All that exists today is the monthly and annual options, and the annual would line up with what you've been doing with us for all the time you've been buying Microsoft 365 before. But because of this new requirement for no changes during that annual term, you may decide that you want to put some of your licenses on monthly if you have some seasonal workers or some fluctuation that you want to be able to handle. And you can have a combination of annual and monthly for even the same type of service. So you can have 5 Business Premium on annual and 1 or 2 Business Premium on monthly for the months that you need them. And then they end at the end of those months and you don't have to carry that commitment for the whole year. There will be multi-year agreements coming. There will be 36-month commitments coming with a monthly, annual, or upfront for 3-year payment option. There's going to be unclear what the pricing will be, but there will be no premium. And there again, you're making that commitment for that entire time period with the same restriction on refund. So if you know your staff rate's going to be very steady at 45 Business Premium users for the next 3 years, you're going to get the best price and the best benefit in the multi-year 3-year commitment. I make that statement because, as I mentioned, there's that price increase coming in March. If you sign up now before March on that annual commitment term, you will defer that price increase out until next year. Because as long as you're in this annual term, there's no change to your price. Even if Microsoft brings out a price increase, that won't impact you until your renewal time. So if you log after March when they're available, if you locked into a 3-year plan, you would secure your pricing for 3 years. And if Microsoft had a price increase coming a year and a half or 2 years from now, you wouldn't experience that price increase until the end of that 3-year term. And if you're in an annual term, you can move to a 3-year multi-year term once those become available in March. Interesting that they're not becoming available until March, until after Microsoft has their price increase. Now, what are the timelines for this? So I've already mentioned some dates such as March for that price increase. The new commerce experience begins now in January. So as of now, we can start taking orders and signing up subscriptions for you under the new commerce experience. There is a discount offer for the monthly. So as I mentioned, the monthly has a 20% price increase, but there is a promotion from Microsoft from now through to June that if you want to transition some of your licenses to monthly, you will see no price increase until June. But in July, you would see both that 20% increase because you're purchasing through the monthly, and you would see that 15% on average, was 9% for some products, as much as 17% for others, starting in July. So if you're going to go monthly for anything, be very aware that there's going to be some increased costs coming for anything you choose to license monthly starting in the second half of this year. The annual offer, so the annual subscription that currently has no price increase, locks you in for a year, has no price changes for a year, but again, has that restriction of not decreasing quantities at all throughout the year. It has a 5% promotional discount that's running from January until the end of March. And they may choose to extend that from right now. That's our understanding of how long that promotion is going to last. From a rules of what we can and can't do perspective, starting in March, we will no longer be able to license on the previous Microsoft SKUs that we had been using for the online services. Any new subscriptions must happen under the new commerce experience, under the new rules I just talked about. Starting in July of 2022, any legacy CSP subscriptions that are coming for renewal must now be renewed in the NCE. And by July 1st of 2023, everyone must be on NCE. So realistically, it's coming within the next year anyways. So now is the best time to jump on it because you can take advantage of both that 5% price discount and you can push off that price increase that's coming from Microsoft in March. So again, in March of 2022, we see that price increase that's coming irrelevant to the NCE program. That price increase was coming whether you were buying direct, buying from us, buying in some sort of an enterprise agreement. That price increase was coming no matter what. But by doing NCE, we gain the ability to defer it. So the good of what you can do from a timeline and benefit to you from a cost perspective, you could go on the monthly for the next 6 months and take advantage of that monthly promotion that has no price increase on monthly and gives you flexibility in license change month to month. But really what makes more sense is to get onto the annual NCE program while there is a promotion, and that promotion runs into March, but the price increase comes in March. So really the best thing to do is to get onto that annual NCE subscription before March 1st, and you push off that price increase for a year until February of next year, and then you'll see that price increase. And then in between now and then, we can discuss those 3-year plans and what benefit that might bring to your overall pricing for your Microsoft 365 services. So for our customers that are currently buying through us today, we already understand exactly what you're buying through us. We have the ability to prepare for this in advance. So we're actually reviewing your subscriptions in advance and we're putting quotes together. And your account manager will reach out to you in the next few weeks with the expectation of the option to approve a new quote based on your current invoice. So your invoice today, if you're buying any Microsoft 365, Office 365 subscriptions for us, looks like this. You have an Exchange Online Plan 1. It has a commitment date today of 1 year from us today. It has a quantity and a price. You have a Business Premium. It has a quantity and a price. When we create those new quotes for you, we will take that exact information coming off of your current bill, and we'll reflect that in a new quote at those same prices. And then we'll add on that annual 5% discount. So it'll be very easy for you to see, this is what I'm paying now, here's what the annual discount's going to give me, here's what I'm going to have for the next year. And this is the chance to discuss with your account manager, well, I don't necessarily want to lock in 51 for a year on the annual plan that's billed monthly. I might want to go 45 and then put 6 of my business premium licenses on a monthly plan billed monthly and have that flexibility of increasing or raising that amount that's on that monthly plan at no extra cost for the next 6 months, and then I can decide what I want to do after that 6 months. So you have that flexibility. When this invoice goes out to you, there will also be a cover letter that's re-explaining what I just talked about today, where we talk about the fact that the new commerce licensing experience is coming into effect. There's a new price increase coming in March, and this quote provides you with the best price protection because you're locking in your new pricing before that March 1st price increase for these SKUs. You're also benefiting from an additional 5% discount if you do it before March 31st, and you leverage both if you do it before the end of February. And then again, if you wanted to put anything on monthly, you'll see that 20% increase for anything you want to go on the monthly commitment starting in July. So summarizing really everything I just talked about and how that's going to impact you. Again, just to reiterate, you can mix and match annual and monthly subscriptions. And once the 3-year comes out, you'll be able to mix and match the monthly, the annual, and the 3-year to whatever best suits what you want to do for kind of a commitment term and what kind of ability you want to have to lock pricing in short or long term, preventing any future price increases. If you're not a customer with us today and you aren't buying your Microsoft 365/Office 365 licensing from us and you want to understand and discuss how we can help you out, please reach out to us at solution@broadbandnetworks.ca, subject NCE, and we'll have one of our account managers discuss with you your current licensing, whatever commitment terms you're currently in with whoever you're buying from today, and talk about how we can get you into purchasing your Microsoft and Office 365 licensing from us, and again, getting that benefit of having your support for Microsoft and Office 365 being provided from us for that tier 1 level of support.